if you refrain from exploring various sides of an argument or issue, you will have a lot more friends because you can choose a side and go to that warm and fuzzy club where everybody thinks the same way and agrees on everything and has the same worldview. What we call a bubble, I guess, or something like that. If you explore things in depth, read varying perspectives on something like Ukraine, uh, you know, things become more nuanced and complex. And then if you do the great sin of putting yourself in the other guy's shoes, um, or eliminating the binary and looking into the gray areas, those scary places that are not easily defined, um, you become a pariah or some foolish person that no one understands. But this is really a mess, obviously. I'd like to ask people in Moscow or any Russian city, smaller towns, um, would you like to be an American? Of course, their concept of what an American is wouldn't be accurate, but they would have some idea. And then either they would say, no, I'm Russian, I love being Russian, or maybe they'd say, yeah, if I could, I'd go and be an American. I don't know. Or ask anybody anywhere if they want to be this or that. The bottom line is this: the geopolitics of all of this are performed by a very small group of elite players. And those players are controlled, for lack of a better word, by corporations and big money, and these interests are paramount. So oil and gas is a big thing. I read some interesting articles with that perspective, and I've read articles over the last, since 2014 or whatever, about Russian interests in Ukraine, and this and that revolution and this and that breakaway province and whatnot. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to this propaganda war again. It's just they're they're evil and irrational and ridiculous and stupid and murderous, and we're from the free world and only want the best for everybody. And we don't think about Germany's dependence on Russian energy and so on and so forth, the trade between Europe and Russia, the buffer zone that Ukraine represents from what Russia considers a belligerent alliance, and so on and so forth. I won't go into it. Go to globehackers.com and read those articles. There's plenty of mainstream stuff there too to wallow in if that makes you feel better. But these perspectives are important, and most of us just don't want to know. And I really do believe that at the end of the day, the players don't care how many people get killed in Syria, in Libya, in Yemen, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Vietnam, in the Philippines, in Ukraine, or any other place, as long as their strategic business interests are being looked after. And we, the common folk, prop up, the US dollars with our hard-earned taxes. We pay the price in Europe and the United States for all of this at the end of the day, at the gas pump, as consumers. And, we are badly programmed to stay with the program. We're programmed to stick with the program. That's what we do. And we have very little power. Even if we have the vote and we're from a free country with Facebook and Google and Netflix and Disneyland and the NFL and the NBA and all the wonderful things, all the wealthy people, all the beautiful places, all the wonderful culture, jazz, the blues, whatever you think is great. We have very little to do with it. We also export wokeness and PC and tagging the side of buildings and hip hop and twerking and Pornhub. If you're a drug dealer or a drug supplier from the South, Latin countries, then you're evil. If you're doing lines of coke at the club in Manhattan and you're a lawyer, a suit, then you're just a libertarian cool guy. You know, we don't ask fundamental questions. In the meantime, we waste all this energy on these games, strategic games, this game theoretic nightmare. And we forget climate change, the sixth extinction. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. And other things. We simply don't have the imagination to think of a better way of doing stuff. And if people come along and dare to think there might be other ways of organizing things, we call them utopians, unrealistic, idiots. And that's just the way it is, because we're literally trained to be minion participants in the great game. It's not a conspiracy. It's just built into the system. It's structural. It's systemic. It comes from education and culture and many other complex aspects of human life and existence and expression. Can't be boiled down to simple things. So we're going to watch the propaganda, and right after COVID-19, we're going to watch the body count in Ukraine. Then this thing is going to fizzle out a little bit, and there'll be something else right after that. So let's just hope and pray this doesn't evolve into a nuclear exchange or something. We want hypersonic missiles so we can shoot down all of Russia's nukes and China's nukes. And then we'll have nuclear primacy, right? Does that not sound like it would be threatening to a Chinese leader or a Russian leader? Somehow we've got to step back from this nonsense and think of a better way to live. So many things that we take for granted now are simply wrong in the light of current circumstances. And I urge everyone to look for a plurality of information and advice and knowledge on how the game is played, how things work. And then be good Catholics or good Muslims or good Buddhists or good capitalists or good artists or whatever, and get on with life. If you don't educate yourself, maybe it's better to be ignorant. Maybe it's more fun. I know one thing, if I wasn't so curious, I'd probably have more friends. But at my age, who needs friends, right? Okay, talk to you later. Bye.